All right, so today what we're doing is we're looking at our, what we did yesterday, but we're going to do everything without graphs, okay? So, without graphs. We need graphs. We know that parallel lines, write this down, guys. Parallel lines have what kind of slopes? The same, right? Equal is a good word, but the same. Okay? I want you to have this on as many papers as you can have. Parallel lines have the same slopes. Those are very easy to spot. We can do this. Perpendicular lines, I'm going to abbreviate it a little bit more than what we wrote yesterday. Perpendicular lines, you're looking for two things. What two things are you looking for? Well, if you're looking at the lines, yes, but if you're looking at their slopes, okay, so one's positive and one's negative. One is positive, one's negative. I'm going to use the symbols, and they must be flipped. Okay, so parallel lines, you're looking for the same slopes. Perpendicular lines, you're looking for one to be positive, one to be negative, and for them to be flipped versions of each other. The fractions are flipped. So what we're going to do here, this is going to be very easy. For these 10 examples, 10 might have been overkill, but 10 examples, all I'm asking you to do is to tell me if the lines, without graphing, if the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or possibly neither. Okay? So, looking at, and obviously parallel is very easy to spot. Looking at example 1, these are not parallel, right? Because they're not the same. The question is, are they flipped? The two slopes? Is one positive and one negative? So what does that mean example 1 is? Perpendicular, and I'm going to abbreviate. Perpendicular. Everybody see why we got 3/4 and we got -4/3. They're flipped, and one's positive, one's negative. How about example 2? What do we notice? These are, their slopes are both what? The same. They're both 3/4. So these lines must be parallel. I'm going to abbreviate that one like that. Okay, let's look closely at example 3. We've got, this slope has a slope of 1/5. This one has a slope of -1/5. So they're not the exact same, right? So they're not parallel. One is positive and one's negative, but are they flipped? No. So this would be a case of neither. That is an option. Sometimes there is just neither. How about example 4? We got a slope of 3 and we got a slope of -3. Say again? It's neither again, right? One's positive and one's negative, but they're not flipped. They're not the same. So this is neither again. All right, example 5. Perpendicular. Everybody agree? One's negative, one's positive, and they are flipped. I agree as well. All right, how about example 6? For example 6, when I'm looking at this slope of 3, I need to pretend that it is over 1, right? So they're flipped. One's positive, one's negative. Yes, those are perpendicular. All right, I'm going to give you a second to do those last 4 on this page, and then we're going to look at the back. All right, so let's go over these. One thing that I haven't been saying, these numbers on the end, we don't even look at those, right? Unless we're graphing, those are not important. All we are looking at are the slopes. We know this one would be over 1. So what do y'all think about these slopes? What are they? Are they not flipped? Is one positive and one negative? Then those are perpendicular. How about example 8? What do we got? 9/2 and 9/2. Are those exactly the same? So these are parallel. All right, how about example 9? We got, they're flipped. They're flipped. Is one positive and one negative? This is another neither. Again, for them to be perpendicular, both things have to happen. One must be positive and one must be negative. These are both positive. All right, and then example 10, this one we're going to put over 1. They are flipped, and one's positive, one's negative, so those are perpendicular. All right, on the back. here's what I want us to do. This is what you got the colors for. I want you to pick one of your colors, and that is what you were going to do the parallel lines with. So I'm going to do blue. I'm going to put blue. This is my key right here. I'm going to draw a blue line to connect every line that is parallel to another line. And then I'm going to draw an orange one to connect the perpendicular ones. So just to kind of give you just a little start, I am going to have you guys do this by yourself, and then we're going to check them. Let's take line A, for example. I know this one has a slope of 4. Do I see any other ones that might have a slope of 4? This one right here, right? So this means these two lines are parallel. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a blue line, because that's my parallel color, and I'm going to connect them. Okay, take B. This has got a slope of 2/3. Do you see any other ones that are 2/3? 2/3 exactly? So what this means is there's not anything that's parallel to this one. There must be one that's perpendicular to it. Do you see one that is perpendicular to 2/3? This one, right? They're flipped. Okay, so I'm going to perpendicular. I'm using orange. All right. So you only have 4 more there that you need to match up. Make sure you use your correct color, whatever color you use for parallel and whatever color you use for perpendicular. All right, just about everybody looks like they're done. Okay, let's go over them. So here, there's really not a wrong way to approach this. You can look at it however you want. You can go in a row, or you can just try and see ones that match. I don't care how you do this. The OCD in me would just go down in a row, but that's just how I would do it. So I would start with line C now. I'm looking for one that has a slope of -5. None of them do, right? But you see one that's kind of similar to it? This one would be over 1. And those would be flipped, right? So those would be perpendicular. So for me, I'm using orange. Okay, how about the next one? I've got 3/5 on this one. Any that have 3/5? That one right there. So these two are parallel, which for me, that is blue. Okay, this one I've got 1/4. There are no 1/4. But I haven't used this one yet, and it would be over 1. So would we say that E and 3 are perpendicular? So that'll be orange. And lastly, obviously this one goes with that one, and they are the same, so they're parallel, and that would be blue. Whew. I didn't realize quite how crazy that was going to look when you get done. So when you get done, your colors are going to be different than mine, but these 3 should be the same color, and then those other 3 should be the same color. Okay, pretty easy, right? Without graphs, this actually takes no time. Graphing is what takes a long time. Personally, I don't like graphing, but I don't need a graph. I can tell what's parallel and perpendicular without that. All right, let's do it then.